Knightline is brought to you by the Dever Team, your source for New Smyrna Beach real estate and everything else New Smyrna Beach. Go to www.thedeverteam.com and call UCF alumni Travis Dever for all your New Smyrna Beach needs. 386-690-1636. That's 386-690-1636.
Welcome to UCF Knightline, your source for UCF sports and former player information.
Hello, Night Nation. This is Andrew Phegley coming to you from the 1148 studios. This is Knightline 170 from the award-winning Knightline Sports Network. Joining me as always,
Trylko. Hello, everyone. 22 straight for football, 21 straight for volleyball, back-to-back thrillers for men's soccer. Insider Kyle Israel talking football. Ben Stout talking men's basketball. Join us. And what a treat, Nat and Emmy bake over Knightline and the world. But first,
ESPN College Game Day. We're coming to your city. And we're coming to your city.
all right, that's the voice of the beautiful Lizzie Hale talking about game day. Unbelievable, Trace. Unbelievable. It's really happening. ESPN's game day is coming to UCF. Would you have ever thunk it? The big show gets to see what we already know. UCF has the best campus in the country.
they've been talking about UCF last season, this season, but many of those ESPN folks have never set foot on UCF's campus. They're in for quite a show.
They are.
You think any of our fans or students or alums might turn out?
I hope so.
On Memory Mall.
I hope so.
That's where it's going to be, everybody. Memory Mall.
I hope that it's not empty. I'm really kind of worried because a lot of our fans and alumni don't show up for games.
Now, attendance was strong.
It was strong yesterday. I'm just playing.
Yeah, just playing.
What an historic moment for UCF, period. I mean, this honestly is probably up with winning the first bowl game. It's probably up with winning the first BCS game. Seriously, and I know it's stupid to compare it with those things, but I think it compares with those things. It's that big because these guys have been dogging us for however long, and then all of a sudden they're announcing they're coming here.
Got messages from friends not only impressed the game day was coming here, but that UCF in Cincinnati would be the prime time Saturday, 8 o'clock kick.
That's huge.
On ABC.
Huge.
The A team.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And that was what was really impressive to them. And this is friends, beyond my UCF circle of friends that go to programs like Florida. They've known for quite a while, UCF is here and not going anywhere.
Right. Well, and the best thing about that is Kirk Herbstreit, who has, said a lot of bad things about UCF, is actually going to have to call the game now and be there and watch every single play. So I think that's great. I think he'll change his mind when he sees what's going on. I think in the last few weeks he's changed a little bit anyway. He's eaten a lot of those words, I think.
Well, it's helped that Appalachian State has lost and Fresno State has lost.
And everybody that he talked about that was better than us has lost, and we haven't. So,
but be prepared. They're not going to be criticism-free. UCF,
I'm sure
with
they
the
won't.
35-24 win over Navy, a game even many of our fans expected to be a bigger blowout a week after Cincinnati beat Navy 42-0.
Right.
I hear it, Andrew Rand. That Family Guy segment, what really grinds your gears? Here it comes.
People, come on. Like, seriously. Think about this for a few minutes before you run your mouths anymore and talk about how we should have beat them by more, we should have done this, we shouldn't have done that, we should have done this. Seriously, people, we won the game. All that is important to Coach Heupel right now, I guarantee to everybody in the football program, is winning 1-0 every week. That is all that is important. It doesn't matter how you do it. It doesn't matter the style points that you have. All that matters is that W in the win column, and it's 22 of them right now. That is the only thing that matters. So y'all can talk all you want, but, seriously, it doesn't matter. It does not matter at all, besides winning the game.
Seems
That's
like you
what
bought
matters.
into 1-0. You like that. You've bought in.
I love it. It's working, obviously, right?
Big response to a Twitter poll that I posted that reads as follows. Do style points, where UCF is concerned, really matter to the CFP? Big showing. 51% say yes. 49% say no.
The CFP doesn't matter, to be honest with you, because they're not going to put us in that top 4. So it does not matter to me as far as what... I didn't even look at the polls today. I had to ask you where we were.
You did ask me.
I did not even look.
No
I'm not going to
movement.
look on Tuesday when that show happens. I'm not going to watch it. I don't care where we're ranked.
11-11.
We just need to finish what we've started here, and history will work itself out. Whatever happens, happens. All we need to do is keep winning, period. That's it.
Speaking of the win, offense didn't show you all the tricks in the bag. They
Very
didn't need to. They
conservative.
ran the ball.
Very, very conservative.
And ran the ball effectively.
Yep. Another 100-yard game from Greg McCrae.
Who has really just shown himself to be a durable back. There was one drive where he carried the ball 4 consecutive plays.
Right.
And
you know what he said after that? Let's listen.
That credit goes to my O-line. They create big holes for me to run through. So all that, those, that zone that you're saying, that zone is to the O-line. The O-line is in their zone. All
right, well, he talks about his O-line instead of himself. I love it. I love the kid. I think it's awesome. He's 200-yard games in a row. Imagine if they would have started giving him the ball sooner in the year.
17 carries, 101 yards, and his 4th rushing touchdown of the season.
I say they give it to him and give it to him and give it to him. I just wish they would just give it to him.
We talked about it being a run-focused offense, 297 yards rushing for UCF on a day where they put up 497. McKenzie, just 200 yards, but efficient, 2 touchdowns, 17 of 21. For several weeks, the completion percentage was hovering around 50%. He was pretty complete on Saturday.
Yeah. Well, just wanted to win the game. Here's what Hype had to say about the game in his opening statement.
Proud of the way the kids played, competed for 60 minutes in all 3 phases of the game. Thought defensively came out, started really fast, did a good job of being dialed into our assignments early in the football game. Gave up a couple plays as the game unfolded, but overall proud of what they did and seeing the triple option there. And then offensively, I thought really overall handled things really well. Structurally, they were completely different than anything they had showed on tape the entire season. I thought coaches and players did a great job of adjusting after that first series and finding a way to go score some points. So special teams were solid today, and just proud of the ability to go win one more.
All right. Well, I have quite a few clips, but I haven't had a hypoism of the week for quite a while because he hasn't really given anything good. This one, somebody asked him if he was tired of the playoff talk. And he almost said a 4-letter word. He caught himself, did a great job of catching himself. So let's hear this one real quick. Is Heupel tired of the playoff talk?
I don't get tired of it. We want to be in that conversation. We want to be in it every single year. And we're building this program to have sustained success and be at that level every single year. I'm proud of what our kids do, the purpose that they approach every single day when they walk into our building. They'll be excited to go play next Saturday, whatever time kickoff is against Cincinnati.
All right. Well, yeah.
I believe he was going to say shoot or stuff.
Well, I don't think so, personally. But I think that's awesome, though, that he caught himself. But still, we got to hear a little bit of true Heupel there. All right. So somebody asked him about the conservative play calling.
Structurally, we had one possession in the third quarter, right? We get the ball the second time in the fourth quarter. So, again, with what they were playing defensively, structurally, to me, it was our best advantage to be in the run game and be with our pass tags off of the run game. I thought we executed our pass tags really well when they were there. When they weren't, we were handing the ball off and had some big runs and had some 4s and 5s, and we'll take those too. I think when you're playing offensive football, in some respect, you have to take what they're giving you, right? And if you've looked at it from up top, they weren't giving us a lot of things down the football field, right? I mean, it was a light box, and that's why we took advantage of it. The fourth quarter, you look at, I don't know, the 7-minute mark or whatever it might have been, right? It's a 3-possession ball game right there, right? What you're seeing on the other side, at the end of the day, we're trying to play winning football.
All right, well, he said it right there. Oh, what we're trying to do is play winning football. So
he's doing pretty good at it, isn't he?
That's all that he is trying to do. I guarantee it, and I love it. I love it. It's not horribly exciting. It doesn't matter if it's horribly exciting. What matters is the W in the win column.
Navy, though, when you play Navy, it is never horribly exciting.
No,
they're so
it's not.
methodical.
Yeah, well, and they had a resurgence this week too. They played a lot better than they've been playing the last few games. I mean, they've lost 6 in a row or something like that.
Now 7, yeah.
And this was one of their best games since then. So,
did you see a little bit of KZ being KZ, a little bit better return to health as it turned out? He's 62 yards rushing.
Yeah.
He passes Dante Culpepper, pretty big name in UCF history. Most rushing yards in a career by a UCF quarterback with still games to play.
Have that clip as well, and let's hear what he had to say about breaking Dante Culpepper's record. I love this one, too.
That's a huge honor, Dante's obviously a legend, and not just here in the NFL, so, that's huge. I'm pretty sure Daryl Mack will probably pass it up when his time comes. So,
and he talks about another player besides himself in that sentence. It's awesome. I love the way that this kid does stuff. Did you see the Twitter picture of he gave the hat to the little special needs girl? Awesome stuff.
A good character kid.
Today he was at the basketball game taking pictures of people.
Did you see who he had a picture taken with? Our guest later on, Nat Nemi.
Oh, yeah.
Who we caught up with, yeah.
The picture that I saw, he had a picture of Travis Devers' kid with it.
Really?
So he was up in the Travis sits in the loge, and I guess that KZ and his mom and a couple other players or whatever were sitting up there. So that's where they were today.
He is a fan favorite.
Yeah, absolutely. And he should be. I mean, he was raised right and, shows it, which is awesome.
I like that Navy is the opponent on Veterans Day weekend. And a happy Veterans Day. Thank you for all the service and sacrifice to all the veterans who listen and even those who don't. We thank you for your service.
Absolutely.
And what a great opponent to have. And nice turnout from the Navy faithful, and UCF very respectful in their applause when Navy entered the field.
Yeah.
Did you like the flyover?
It was all right.
Yeah.
I mean, it was cool.
Well, they've had a couple this year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've had one for most of our games, I think.
Still going to take something to beat that one that nearly flew.
Yeah. Well, I hope that they can figure out something to do for the primetime game. There needs to be something big. Maybe something different on the team intro or something. I don't know. Something needs to be a little bit bigger.
Going to be an electric atmosphere.
I think. Yeah. It'll be insane. All right, here's what Heupel had to say about on the Cincinnati game being big.
At the end of the day, if you're doing it right inside of your program, each game becomes bigger. That's what we want. The type of program we're trying to build. Have great respect for Cincinnati. We're going to enjoy this one today. We'll move on to Cincinnati tomorrow, but yeah, we'll stick with the 1-0 mantra.
I love this guy. 1-0. I love it. I think it's awesome. 1-0.
All right, can we be a little critical? I mean, I stand in defense of the defense in the way they were able to – this was never a close game, really. The way Navy runs the ball and how long it takes on its drives. When UCF was up 18 points, I mean, that's 3 drives for Navy. Mm-hmm. I mean, Navy's just not going to score very quickly. What concerns you, though, in the 374 yards rushing that they gave up? Do you see things week to week?
Nothing against Navy concerns me about that.
No?
No.
Even though
that's what Navy does.
Even though Cincinnati gave up 124 to that same Navy team.
Well, I mean, Navy didn't have their best game. Any of these games. But what did we give up to them last year? Somebody needs to look that up, I guess, because we probably gave up more to them last year. I don't know.
I can look that up.
But it doesn't bother me.
Well, I mean, what grade would you give the defense? You're sticking on that. You're not concerned.
I'm not concerned. I mean, yes, the defense is a little bit concerning, but Coach Shannon has been trying some things out at maybe some different times of the game that you wouldn't think that he's trying things out. If you watch and that may be how the second half resurgence is with this team. It wasn't any different this week because I think they played the base throughout. But from what I understand, in the first quarter or first half of a lot of the games has been trying different things, different schemes. And then he goes back to the base in the second half when he knows that he really needs to hold it down. And I don't have a problem with that. You can try all kinds of things in practice against your offense, knowing that what that offense is going to do, and nothing seems like real game time. There's no better time to learn than real game time. They're trying to score points. You're trying to stop them from scoring points. So if he's trying things in the beginning of the games in the first half, a little bit different, maybe trying to set something up for next week or whatever, I don't have a problem with that. And that kind of explains it. I'm not worried about it. I still think that our offense, when they're in high gear, when Heupel gives them the go, puts the jet in full thrust, it's not going to be a problem.
So I've got your
It
stat.
never has been a problem. Has it yet been a problem that our defense is giving up a lot of yards?
9-0.
Yeah.
I've got your stat comparison. So Saturday, UCF gave up 0 passing yards. Mm-hmm. Of course, Navy was 0 of 2.
Right, but
they threw one into the end zone.
That
could
sure
have been a
makes
problem.
the stats a little bit better,
helps that
doesn't
out.
it?
Rushing 374 yards. Okay. So a year ago in Annapolis, UCF gave up 248 rushing, 171 passing for 419 yards.
And what was the total?
0 plus 374, so 374.
So this defense held Navy to less yards this year than they did last year. What does that tell you?
Navy had 20 first downs Saturday. A year ago, 19.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's pretty close, but still.
Kind of comparative.
But still, they didn't give up any passing yards. So
Saturday, Navy had time of possession 35-41. A year ago, 33-59.
Okay.
Similar.
Well, yeah, right? It is similar. But, so there's not that big of a difference, though.
Remember last year they dinged us on a couple of deep passes.
Right.
Remember the Nick Patti line? Like Novocaine, it just sort of wears you down and lulls you to sleep.
And then all of a sudden, boom.
Boom, yeah. That's what happened last year. Fortunately, not successful with those couple of pass attempts Saturday.
Right. So, whatever. It's not a bad thing. Lord have mercy, people. We won this game. That's all.
And I know you hate this poll, but I post it every weekend just to gauge opinion, and it's the Battle of 9-0 teams, 2017 versus 2018 Knights. Last week it was 76-24 for the 2017 team. This week, 78-22 for the 2017 team. So, still a perception. Again, perhaps you vote, if you were one of those that voted, knowing the outcome of the season, ends up 13-0 and winning the Peach Bowl. And maybe you're doubtful that UCF can beat Cincinnati, the Cows, AAC Championship if they get to it, and a bowl. Now, big shout-out to Sean, one of the Knightline listeners. I don't know what the guy does for a living, but
I don't
he's
know,
a stat
he is
freak.
A stat machine.
Huh? He has emailed us with comparative stats, all sorts of. He sent spreadsheets.
This
didn't
stuff is deep too. This stuff
deep
is
dive.
really deep.
The number I thought was very interesting is this term. Are you familiar with this term in stats? Havoc.
Well, I looked in his explanation. I had to look this stuff up because this is, like I said, it's deep stuff.
So havoc is defined as tackles for loss plus passes defensed plus forced fumbles divided by total plays. That makes sense.
Havoc.
Yeah, havoc.
Yeah.
What he has concluded is the defensive havoc rate is better this season.
Yeah.
Than it was in 2017. 2018 defensive havoc rate 20.80 versus 2017's 16.50.
That's kind of a big jump. It's because of all the turnovers, I believe.
So that's interesting. Really good stuff here.
Yeah,
I want to study it more.
He sent us a spreadsheet as well that he made up, and this stuff is it's deeper than I've ever seen this stuff. The S&P Plus, I had to look that up as well because there are people that really take every stat and write all this stuff up, and it's incredible. We need to have him on to talk at some point. I think maybe
idea.
we'll work on that.
maybe once the season concludes, we've got those couple weeks before whatever bowl.
Right.
We're looking for.
This is great, though. It's great stuff.
Well, he says the offense, the numbers are down, but only slightly. Biggest difference is the offense has run the ball 5% more often, and that's in part because they have knocked down the offensive explosiveness a little bit.
Right.
And take Saturday, for example.
Yep.
Just sort of grinding it out
Yeah,
to the tune of 297 yards on the ground. You're not going to have a big, explosive, But we are singing a bit of a different tune than we were after that UConn game, which seems like, goodness, a long time ago.
Right. Well, it was a long
But
time
that UCF
ago.
faster. And remember, talking about just the number of plays. I watched back the game, by the way, up till 3 a.m. I'm on the end of the line, by the way.
You have been a absolute machine this week going to UCF stuff.
I mean, volleyball, Friday, Sunday, they win the American. Men's soccer in the conference tournament, we're going to talk about this, they lose on PKs. We've got sound on both of them. 2 basketball
And I
games.
went to that game a little bit. I was there for a
you
little
were there.
while. It was my
Soccer.
first UCF soccer game, so that was really cool. I stayed after the football game, went out to dinner, and then came back and went to the soccer game. So
Good atmosphere.
very, very cool.
Big crowd out there.
Yeah.
The point, where was my going with that point? What
I
was
don't
my
know.
point? Oh, I watched back the Navy game when I got home.
Okay.
So I was up till 3 something. There were a couple of plays. There were 4 seconds from whistle to. They were 4 seconds off the play clock.
Wow.
5 seconds off the play clock.
Play clock in the stadium was not working.
Oh, you messaged me. Yeah,
Either.
I knew there was problems.
That was
so they
really,
were talking
and then
about
they
it.
on the board, they weren't showing any offensive stats for like the longest time. I actually had to text Eric Kohler and be like, "Hey, tell whoever's like running this thing, tell them to put offensive stats on." And then all of a sudden, there they were.
So, I mean, a big thank you to Sean. These are
incredible.
spreadsheets that I want to pour over more, but
And
your
I'm
main
off-
takeaway here is that statistically, on things like this havoc rate, the
defense
defense is
is actually
performing
better. Right.
Offense slightly off, but they're running the ball more.
Right.
And again, 9-0.
Yeah.
Right? 9-0.
Yeah, that's all that matters. I'm not smart enough to look at all this stuff and understand any of it, really. So I'll admit that. This dude is way, at least at math.
Sean, you looking for a gig? You want to do a little stats thing for Knightline?
Yeah, well, obviously he's doing it. I just can't understand it, so he needs to come on and talk about it. Maybe
and this looks so vast for us.
him
it probably
and
takes
John
him,
Swift need to get together, and they could
Crunching some
probably
numbers.
talk for 2 or 3 days.
And
on
this
these.
looks vast to us. Yeah, he probably throws it together
I
just
know,
like
yeah,
that.
it's
He's
probably-
probably like,
he's-
these guys aren't too bright.
he's
This
probably,
is easy. This is just algorithms.
How much you want to bet this guy works for NASA? I don't know. Anyway, all right.
Thank you, Sean.
Yeah, absolutely. Unbelievable stuff. Let's get on with these clips, or we're never going to get done. So here's what Hype had to say on the defense.
I thought they played really well early. We're dialed into their keys, played assignment sound. As the game unfolded, we gave up a couple big plays, busted a couple things, missed a couple tackles, but overall gave us the ability to go win a football game.
All right, one more Hype clip here, and this is what he had to say about the running backs. Of course, high praise for them.
I thought all the backs played really well today. Greg had a really good performance. AK ran downhill, had some really nice runs. Otis had some big plays as well. We run the speed sweep there in the fourth quarter, and he's able to make a guy miss and make a big play out of it. So I like the way all those guys did. Obviously, we can't put the ball on the ground there at the end of the first half, but pleased with the way they performed.
Okay, I've got just a couple more football clips here, and then we're going to get on to everything else that we've got. This show is jam-packed with stuff.
Could use 2 shows.
It could. All right, here's what Greg McCrae had to say. This is interesting. I think it's kind of funny, actually. This is what Greg McCrae had to say on the 22-game winning streak.
Oh, that's our streak? I promise you I didn't know. We know there's a streak, but, that's not what we talk about, in the locker room. 22 games, that's pretty amazing, actually. But, I didn't even know that, honestly. So, but to be on the street, that's that's really good, Just shows the preparation that we put in week and week out is paying off.
I don't know if I buy it.
What do you think of his acting skills?
I mean, if that's true, that's awesome that he doesn't know about it, to be honest with you.
Maybe we should ask punter Mac Loudermilk what he grades that from an acting perspective.
Well, maybe. I don't know. All right. Then Casey here real quick on just winning.
A lot of people act like games are easy to win. They're not. The American Conference is very good. you see a bunch of these teams playing Power 5 schools throughout the year and beating them. So it is what it is. Week in and week out, and playing a team like Navy, you only get 3 days to prepare for something like that. And running triple option, our defense did a great job holding them to, I think it was 17. So it's not easy to win games. But, obviously we want to put our best foot forward, and that's what we'll continue to do. All
right, well, I love it. I love that attitude. Dredrick Snelson, he had this to say about playing Navy in general.
Oh, it's pretty awesome. They didn't even talk to me the whole game, to be honest. He didn't say a word to me, the DB that was covering me. So he was a pretty poised guy. He just didn't talk to me. I tried to get him out of his game. Pretty well-composed guy. I think they all like that. So my hats goes off to them. They're excellent guys. Great personalities. He talks to me after the game. Well-around, overall good guys over there.
Would you rather have the corners and safeties stretch talk to you a little bit?
Yeah, of course. That's what makes the game interesting. He didn't talk to me not once the whole game. He didn't say a word to me. So that just threw me off a little bit. It is what it is.
What were you saying now?
I was just talking to him like, you can't cover me man-to-man. Like, you're not going to be man-to-man with me. He didn't say a word to me. He didn't even look at me like that. And I scored on him. So, yeah.
Was there a point where you're like, are you going to say anything?
Yeah, I asked him, like, you're not going to talk to me? He was just like, nah. But it is what it is. He turned his head and kept walking. And I just turned my head and kept walking.
That's good stuff right there.
Talk about discipline from the Naval Academy.
Yeah, I mean, they've been known to play a little bit dirty, but
some of those shot blocks.
Yeah. That's just what they do. So
Dredrick, 5 catches, 72 yards, and the 2 beautiful touchdown passes.
Yeah.
He's just one of my favorites.
He is. Yeah, he's a good one. All right, well, that does it for the football clips. So
the clip show portion.
Yeah, that's 30 minutes into it.
All right, so what do you think of these bowl projections? Bleacher Report, UCF and the Gators in the Fiesta.
Love it.
I'm just going to say this. If they're pairing UCF and Florida, put them in the Peach.
Yeah.
Don't make both fan bases go all the way across country.
It's true.
If you're going to put those two teams together.
It's true.
That's just my thought on that. CBS Sports has that as well. Sports Illustrated has Texas and UCF in the Fiesta. That's an interesting matchup, especially since Texas doesn't want to play us in the regular season anymore.
Right.
ESPN has UCF versus Penn State in the Fiesta. And one of their ESPN projections, Peach Bowl, LSU and UCF.
That'd be a good one.
We're going to have to get TJ LSU dad back on the line.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
He should be, by the way. I wish he could come down for
I
game day.
texted him yesterday during the game because there was, I don't know if you saw the graphic that went across the scoreboard, but it was AK with a piece of cheese, like a slice of cheese, and he had bread, like the football under his arm. So I had to, that's obviously from TJ LSU dad there, so. And he was like, I love it, like normal.
Don't you wish you could have him in the front row there at game day?
It'd be awesome.
Think Nugget will get a little bit of airtime?
Dude, Nugget is awesome. I mean, I look forward to seeing
They had a
Nugget.
petting zoo Saturday.
Was Nugget out there?
I did not make it.
No, they wouldn't put Nugget in the petting zoo. I love it. They need to have a mini Nitro now, too. Like a big Nitro and a mini Nitro. Like at Kansas, we have Big J and Little J, so I think it'd be fun.
I still think they should bring Glycerin back. It's Nitro's girlfriend or wife.
Well,
or
what happened to
whatever.
her?
No, retired.
Oh, she blew up. Glycerin, nitroglycerin. I don't know.
Not much from the Knights in the NFL. I was at volleyball and men's basketball, so I didn't catch much.
All I know is my Chiefs won. That's all that I care about.
I saw Blake was 26 of 38, 320 yards, 2 touchdowns, but the Jags lose again.
Really?
So, yeah. Yeah,
no
looking
interceptions
good.
by him?
No interceptions.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Shout out to Libby, our friend Libby, who I understand now will be coming down for game day.
She gave us a message earlier. So.
Her son's 13th birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Wesley.
Happy birthday, Wesley. That's awesome.
All right, we're going to get to volleyball celebrating a conference title, and also the best coverage of UCF football continues in just a moment. Former UCF quarterback Kyle Israel joins us to discuss UCF's win over the Midshipmen. Knightline, keeping you informed and entertained morning and evening rush hour, or anytime you're on I-4.
Hey, this is Travis Dever, Kai's Real Estate, the Dever team, New Smyrna Beach. Your source for real estate and everything else New Smyrna Beach. Proud sponsor of Knightline and Knightline Postgame Live. Call me anytime at 386-690-1636. That's 386-690-1636. Let me show you my hometown, New Smyrna Beach, UCF's favorite beach. Go Knights and charge on.
You know, ever since I started Knightline, people have been asking me for advice. Usually, it's what team to bet on this week. The truth is, I don't know who's going to win, but if you think that you know, you gotta check out MyBookie. Remember, who you're betting on is just as important as who you're betting with. That's why I always tell people to bet with MyBookie. Trust me, guys, they're the best bet this season. They've been in business for years, they have great reviews online, and their mobile site is easy to use. Lay down some cash and win big today. They have in-game live betting, the most rewarding player perks in the business, and for you fantasy guys out there, you can even bet over-under on how many fantasy points a player is going to score each game. Join now and MyBookie will match your deposit dollar for dollar. Use promo code NIGHT to activate the offer. You play, you win, you get paid. Visit MyBookie online today. Welcome to Inside the Huddle with former UCF quarterback Kyle Israel, brought to you by the Little Greek Fresh Grill. Fresh, flavorful, fabulous. Waterford Lakes, 855 North Althea Trail, Orlando.
UCF moves to 9-0, winners of a 13th consecutive home game. Let's talk about it with former UCF quarterback Kyle Israel, who's inside the huddle and on the Knightline hotline. Kyle, 3 words for you. College game day. What do you think of this?
Well, I think it's one of those days, when I saw it was a possibility kind of last week, the conversation was starting and the rumors were circling. I thought it was just, incredible. And then to kind of see it come to fruition today and this morning, I think it's one of the biggest things and a kind of a culmination from a exposure perspective of really just 12 months of hard work by our athletic administration and Danny White and his team and our marketing department. All those guys have really put us in a position, not just from the wins on the football field, but to create this buzz. And, it's kind of a dream come true for somebody like myself who's really been around the program for 15 to 20 years, and certainly to be, to go winless only a few years ago. It's just absolutely phenomenal.
And not too long ago, you took a snap in the on-campus stadium built at UCF, and now the eyes of college football will be on UCF in that stadium Saturday in a primetime matchup with Cincinnati. And that is just a relatively short period of time that those two events have happened.
Well, I mean, really just 11 years. And, to give you some perspective or some reference, Coach O'Leary in the second or third day that he was on, that he was hired by Steve Orsini at UCF, he was telling me, Kyle, your goal should be to come back in 10 years. And I've said this before, I think, over the years with you guys. In 10 years, you should come back for the opening of an on-campus stadium. And so for that to have happened in my time at UCF, and then to now be hosting College Game Day on a winning streak that we're currently on, and to do that on prime time, and not, in my opinion, one of the great things about this for the conference is we're not playing a Power 5 team and getting this prime time slot. We're playing somebody in our conference that's very, very good, that's going to really, really challenge us, and we are the draw. And that is something that I think is truly special, and that's really exciting.
Yeah, that's absolutely true that you say that. That's one of the best points I think that have been made yet about this. Let's talk about the game, because we had a game against Navy the other day. I kind of want to put all this stuff that people are saying, oh, we needed to play for style points, we needed to do this, we didn't do that, we needed to do this, away. I think that you may be just the guy to say something like that. Could we or should we have done more?
I don't think that you can ever coach like that. I mean, you look at professionals, okay, and think about what you do on a day-to-day basis. And if you're listening to the podcast, you want to go out and you have an objective, and that is to win. If you're Coach Heupel, that's to win. That's your job. And that's so hard. We've made it look so easy in our fan base, and I don't think it's a problem with our fan base. I think most fan bases kind of rising to glory this quickly across the country would have similar reactions, okay? And to feel this pressure of, hey, we got to push. I found myself saying, 35-24, okay, well, if there's 3 minutes left. If Greg McCrae can squirt out the backside of this third down conversion, we get to 42-24, kind of similar to Notre Dame. I'm like doing all these things in my head with 3 minutes to go in the game. And I'm like, this can be dissatisfying. So I understand the perspective where our fan base is coming from, but we still need to understand that the winning itself, we are at a number of wins in a row in this 20 range, approaching the mid-20s, that just the win at this point is truly remarkable considering how long we've done that. And yes, you want to see a lot of points on the board because you want somebody in the AP or voting in the coaches poll to kind of look at a box score and be like, 11 points. Well, 18 points looks much like a larger margin of victory. So there are some people that aren't going to see the football game and just look at a box score, and so we're chasing those points in our head sometimes. But at the same time, if we continue to win, I think that we're going to end up in the same place, whether we blow people out by 25 points or whether we beat them by 11.
I posted on Twitter towards the end of the game that all things considered, the way the defense has given up big chunks of yards, especially through the air, we knew we weren't going to face that with Navy, that all in all, this game was never close. They did what they needed to do. And I stand by that after the game as well. But I'll point to some statistics. Cincinnati beat Navy 42-0, held Navy to 124 rushing yards. UCF gives up 374. Each game is different. It plays out differently. But is that the Achilles heel we should be concerned about with a top 20 ranked Cincinnati coming into Orlando?
There's no doubt Cincinnati's going to be the best football team we've played this season, and I mean that even considering where Pitt is in the ACC. I've watched Cincinnati in the last 24 hours a few different times on YouTube to kind of get familiar with them because I haven't seen a lot of their games. And this is a very, very talented football team. They have a massive front five offensive line-wise. They can run the football, throw the football. They're extremely talented guys. And so I think there is a bit of concern there, Trace. I never felt like Navy was really in the football game with us. You never felt like they were really in striking distance because of the style of offense that they run. When we got up 21-0, it was almost like the game was out of hand. You could kind of almost feel that energy in the stadium, that the game was out of hand and people kind of sat back a little bit. However, I think you have to look at that. Cincinnati dominated Navy. I think those are great stat lines to look at. And all that does is really magnifies the point that, Cincinnati is a very, very good football team. And I think that this is going to be a make or break football game. It obviously is in conference standings and those sorts of things, but this is not something that people are showing up for a party on Saturday night at 8 p.m. Our fan base better be ready to come in, be loud, give ourselves a home field advantage that we absolutely will need in front of America against a very good football team.
Well, I think that this could be a lot like that game last year against the Cows. This game, yeah. I just feel like it's going to be. Hopefully, it won't be that much of a shootout. I hope not, as far as that goes. But here's the thing: I think that Coach Heupel can turn this thing up or down whenever he wants to. I've seen him be able to turn it up and down. Like this week, it was turned completely down. It was the most conservative play calling that I've ever seen from him. He just wanted to win the game, period. That was it. I believe that it can be turned up for next week.
There are things that you see even yesterday or on Saturday, Andrew, that certainly there were drives, and you pick out 3 or 4 drives in the football game where either we didn't have a commanding lead or it was early on, or we were trying to respond to a Navy score, where I agree with you. You can almost feel like all of a sudden we're on our own 12, and then what seems like in real time, 2 minutes later, we're on the 18 going into score. And you're like, oh, well, can we do this every time? But I do think that there is some level of ability, and, Coach Heupel having control of this offense with McKenzie, that you can turn it on and off. You got to also remember, Coach Heupel said it yesterday, I was on the sidelines behind the bench listening to adjustments early on in the first and second quarter, and Navy came out completely in a different defense than what was anticipated and what was seen in practice all week. And that is a very difficult circumstance for an offense. I think the first 3 and out, everybody was kind of shocked just a little bit. But you got to give that coaching staff and our offense, our players, credit, because if you've ever played the game and you sit for 5 days really focusing on a team to do one thing, and you come out and they're in totally different fronts and defenders with their hand in the dirt, linebackers in different positions, safeties. Now they're running 2 high instead of 1 high. There's a lot of different things, and when so much of your offense is based off of what you're seeing in practice and one-man reads here and there, it's challenging. So keep all those things in mind. But yes, I think that we can turn it up and down when we want to, and I think we'll be prepared for Cincinnati.
Well, looking at comparative opponents, Cincinnati loses at Temple in overtime 24-17. Factoring in overtime, Cincinnati had a total of 200 rushing yards, 111 passing yards, 311 total yards. So am I perhaps making too much of their dismantling of the team from Tampa over the weekend? Maybe they just don't have the offense that can keep up with UCF's?
I don't know if you're making too much of it. I think that it's important to look at some of those comparisons because you can learn a lot about matchups that way. I just looked at what I saw with the naked eye on film today, and I know that Cincinnati is very, very talented, and they are going to get to the second level of our linebacking core, and they're going to run the ball. They're going to use play action. They're going to throw the ball down the field to athletes, and they're going to pressure our offense with a very fast defense. So, I think that Temple, I personally think Anthony Russo for Temple is a very good quarterback, and Temple's going to look very good down the stretch the rest of the season and into next season. So them beating Cincinnati, I can see that happening. But, it kind of goes back to I just feel that Cincinnati is this dark horse kind of coming in here that I think has the talent to knock us off if we're not playing our best football.
Can this defense step up and stop the run?
I think that it's going to have to come from young guys. I think right now when you look at Pat Jasinski, he's really banged up. Yesterday's offense, that style for Pat didn't really expose him because he wasn't having a working space. But I think, some of our younger guys, Gilliard and some of our younger linebacking core, I saw them in there making plays yesterday. But I think that this defense is going to have to keep us in the game. I think they're going to have to do what they do best. And we've created turnovers this year. We got a big turnover yesterday. If they can get themselves off the field by creation of turnovers, then fine. We're going to give up yards. We know that. And we've given up points throughout the course of the season. We know that as well. But we need big stops and big moments, and we need our playmakers to show up on defense in those big moments. But if you think that we're going to be a defensive stalwart all of a sudden, I don't think that that's going to happen. And there's some talented offensive football teams that we have to play ahead of us. And clearly, obviously, in Derek King in Houston, if we end up in a conference championship game, that's another team that can score points. So it'll be interesting to see how it unfolds. But these are talented teams and talented offenses that we're going to be facing.
Talking point amongst the media after the game is the defense is what it is. After 9 games, this is what it is. Am I wrong in that assessment too? I mean, this is, if the tackling bothers you, this is what it is.
If you're Coach Heupel, you're walking into a situation offensively where you got a ton of returning starters on the offensive line. You got basically 4 out of 5 receivers back on the outside, including some of your best receivers in Gabe Davis and Jedrick Snelson, plus you add Trey Nixon to the mix. You got Mackenzie Millen, who's one of the best players in the country. Okay, defensively, Randy Shannon, that's a much easier situation to come into. Randy Shannon, you're losing the heart of your defense in Shaquem Griffin. You lose a number of players, a fifth-year transfer that goes to Nebraska, albeit we didn't know if Trey was going to be the best player for us. Obviously, he wasn't getting playing time, but he did have experience. And you're playing young guys. I think that defensively we're going to have to recruit ourselves into a better defense. I don't think that's going to show up overnight, okay? That's going to take some time. Let's just appreciate the fact that we have an offense that we haven't always had at UCF that can go out there and score 40 to 50 points if we need them to kind of hide that blemish while we get the players in here that and continue to coach the young guys that we have to get us going and continue us going in the right direction. It's just not as easy as what we've seen on offense.
Talk a little bit about Greg McCrae having another 100-yard game.
I loved it. The thing I love about Greg, and he's just always falling forward, and he's always finding a way to get 3 to 4 extra yards on all of his runs. You see him kind of scamper for first downs a few times, and being able to make that kind of convert some of those longer runs. But he's just another guy that's been extremely consistent. Obviously, he's the guy that they want to utilize the most right now. He's the most durable, and he's a guy that I think we'll see more and more of throughout the course of the season.
All right, another guy that is pretty consistent himself, Milton, 17 to 21, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 sacks.
Very efficient day for McKenzie. Had some great runs in there. Obviously, you would think he would be protecting himself if he was feeling extremely banged up. But he was out there putting it all on the line. I think this guy is so tough. I have a lot of admiration for him, kind of being down there on the sidelines where I was yesterday and just, watching his interaction with Coach Heupel and Coach Levy and just the offense themselves. Everybody's just so cool, calm, and collective, and you don't always find that in college football. Even whether or not we're scoring or whether or not we've come off and punt. He's just everybody kind of just follows to the beat of McKenzie, which is just this calm, cool, collective vibe, and it's refreshing. And so I think that for him to go out and have a game yesterday where he was very efficient with the football. And got us out ahead, got us up 21 points, distributed the ball well around the field. You saw a number of guys touch the football yesterday. And then he finds, Jedrick on a big pass over the middle of the field. I think he's kind of positioning himself physically. I think our offense is positioning itself to kind of springboard into what's going to have to be a big 3 or 4 game stretch right here.
Yeah, just a little side note there. Milton, 7 runs for 62 yards, longest 21 yards, 1 touchdown, and averaging 8.9. So, yeah, pretty good as far as I'm concerned.
He passes Dante Culpepper, should highlight that for the most rushing yards by a quarterback in school history. Dante was obviously extremely talented guy, and McKenzie doing that in 3 years kind of puts him on the same timeline. That's a great accomplishment for McKenzie. I think that you're always going to appreciate a guy that's going to go out and put his body on the line to pick up yards to the offense. I think one of the things that always goes to my mind when I think about McKenzie is Coach O'Leary always used to say, I'm not going to remember how many touchdowns you scored. I'm not going to remember how many tackles you made. I am going to remember whether or not you were tough or not. And so I think, that's the best thing I can say about McKenzie is he's a tough kid. And I can appreciate and respect that.
You've played the game at high levels, professional, of course, college at UCF, high school. You've played for many years. Most of the people listening are armchair quarterbacks who have never played and who get hypercritical of everything. I want you to talk a little bit about how challenging it is to change over an entire coaching staff in a first-year head coach in Josh Heupel, who has this team with unbelievable expectations, 9-0 with this primetime showcase. that they've been able to transition and the beat's gone on, maybe not perfectly, okay? Maybe there are areas that we can nitpick and criticize, but just how incredibly challenging to change out every coach, not one position group, everybody.
It's extremely difficult. It's a great point, Trace. And you can argue. I can make an argument right now that Coach Heupel has had the more difficult coaching transition than did Coach Frost, because Coach Frost did have a year of groundwork to lay. He did have an opportunity to go through the struggles of transitioning. Now, he had a lot more of a program turnaround, did Coach Frost have to go through in that time frame, whereas Coach Heupel kind of walked onto this, this train of this momentum in the program. But Coach Heupel has had to do it at such a high standard and really come in seamlessly. And so you got to give so much credit to the staff, because they have had to obviously figure out how to walk this fine line of, okay, these players were successful. Their coach left, which is odd. I need to come in and have them buy into, number one, our system, a way that we want to do things, our culture. But number two, I need to help them. I need to have them help be creators of that culture. And that, I think that was crucial. And so this coaching staff that we have now to come in and to transition almost what feels like on the outside seamlessly. Are there things in games that where we scratch our heads sometimes? Of course, but there are across college football every week. So this is so difficult. What we're seeing is someday going to, I don't know how it's going to be documented, but from where we were to Coach Frost to Coach Heupel, we have seen something truly remarkable. And to have a group of players that have been able to buy in, or at least as a whole buy in, is something that we should be truly, truly proud of. And even when you look at that 6 and 7 team that went to the Cure Bowl 2 years ago, we are still so far removed from that season as well. It's mind-boggling to think about where we were just a short period ago.
Now to go full circle back to game day, and you just said how different we are from just 2 seasons ago. I think about being on the field with you in Atlanta. We didn't see it in person, but Danny White utters the phrase that sets everything in motion for this year. Who would think that late in November, UCF's win streak would be continuing, College game day would be here after the upset of Auburn in the Peach Bowl and the declaration then certified by the NCAA of national champions. What an incredible 2018.
I'm not going to be long-winded, but it is just absolutely, at the beginning of the season, I kept saying, all right, let's just get to week 8 and let's get to week 9. And if we're undefeated at that point, we are really going to start putting pressure on the national landscape. And I think that happened this season sooner than I anticipated because of just some of the national media attention that we received and some of the spotlight that we kind of went and grabbed again. However, this was the time of year coming off last year where I was saying, okay, if we're undefeated at this point, then there's going to be big stuff happening. I don't know exactly what that means. I go college game day. Okay, maybe next year Stanford could be the game that college game day makes it. But man, then we got to go 26-0 to get there. So for college game day to be coming, Trace, and for Danny White to have said those words and give credit to the fan base. I mean, the fan base did not just hear those words from Danny and see this momentum and just appreciate it. Our fan base grabbed it and said, how far can I take this with you? And, we've earned, our fan base has earned and garnered this opportunity to have game day. In my mind, not as much as the players in the administration, but a huge chunk of the support, and really socially on social media and what we've done, has created this momentum that now everybody will be able to celebrate no matter what on Saturday morning between 9 and 12 when it becomes just such an incredible day for our program. I think back to Dr. Milliken always used to come and speak at practice, certainly back in 2004 and 5. I think about him talking about UCF when he envisioned what it could be. And he was always enamored that we had an indoor practice facility. So to have College Game Day, I don't know where it's going to be set up, but that is just kind of the pinnacle of college football, and certainly for a school at our level.
Tell you what, Andrew, I'm sold. Put Kyle Israel on the short list of guest pickers on the game day set.
Absolutely.
Right there.
No question.
Face
No
of
question.
UCF right up there at the main stage.
Absolutely. No question. I'm still blown away. It's surreal at this point. It's hard to believe, but these are extremely good times for anybody that is a UCF fan or alumni. It's incredible. Moving on, though, and by the way, it's going to be set up on the mall. They have announced that as we were talking, I think.
Awesome.
So tell us a little bit about what's going on at the Little Greek.
I don't know. I've just been thinking about UCF football for the last 48 hours.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. We are in a little bit of a lull. Our one-year store is going, and I'm kind of transitioning now to focusing on opening our location in Lee Vista, which will be opening hopefully December 10th. So that will be a very busy time of year for everybody, certainly, but for us, we did agree getting that location open between the holidays will be a hectic 2 or 3 weeks.
Absolutely. All right, man. Well, I'm glad that we got to talk to you on such an historic evening with all this stuff coming out, and it's really incredible.
It truly is, and one of the things that I think about the most is that I'm not sure that our program was ever really truly relating to children really before the last couple of seasons, where you can see the families really start to have children come up that are raised UCF fans. This College Game Day, with the exposure that it brings, it takes everything to a different level. And I hope that there's a lot of kids that get to come out there and experience that'll be future fans of our program. I think that's really cool.
All right, absolutely. We will talk to you soon.
All righty, guys. Sounds good. Thank you.
Congratulations, UCF Volleyball, their second American championship in the past 5 seasons,
Awesome.
Sweeping ECU Sunday afternoon at the venue. Congratulations, Coach Dagenet and the players. UCF 22nd ranked. They moved to 15-0 in the American, 24-3 overall. Their winning streak, 21 matches.
Absolutely incredible. Danny White has done a great job by making all of these sports champions. It's awesome.
And volleyball has more than proven it on the court this
Dagenet's
season.
been here, though, and I mean, I still say that Danny White has done a great job with all this, but Dagenet's done an incredible job as well there.
Well, just building this culture of this winning program that graduates student-athletes, top 25 program. The fall has been unbelievable. I ran the numbers a couple of days ago on Twitter at UCF_Knightline. It may not be right now because of the last couple of days, but I think it's 56-13-3, the UCF fall sports, their record. It's just, what a clip that is.
It's incredible, yeah.
Let's hear from Coach Dagenet, very happy to celebrate this conference championship.
Somehow, some way, we just started getting on a roll, and we just started winning matches. And, I really didn't know how much we were in it until that first time we went up to Cincinnati. We went up there and were able to beat them on their floor. During that time, we won a lot of close matches. But you're waiting for the freshmen to hit the wall. They're going to get tired. And if you'd have told me 18-12 at the beginning of the year, I would have taken that. If you would have told me we'd be just over 500, I probably would have believed you. But like we've talked about all year long, it's all the intangibles, Other teams may have players that jump a little bit higher, move a little bit quicker, do some other things, but we have the best collection of people playing together.
Well, how would you rate the background noise?
It was pretty bad.
It's in the
Pretty
hall
bad,
there.
yeah.
Doing all of this with one senior. That's the libero, Jordan Phegley, and we caught up with her as well.
We are young, but we are powerful and we are strong. And when we play together and for each other, we could be unbeatable. And I think it's amazing to see. So I'm really excited for the rest of this season and hopefully postseason.
All right, for the fourth time, the American recognized senior libero Jordan Phegley as the league's Offensive Player of the Week.
And by the way, it never gets old. You playing "We Are the Champions."
Yeah,
never gets
keep
old.
it on repeat around here. It plays constantly on the music inside the 1148 studios.
I like that. I feel like Casey Kasem. Remember him? We were talking about Art Bell a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Remember Casey Kasem, the long distance dedications? We got one that for Ask Knightline, but I thought it'd be good to do a little shout out to We Are UCF Family, who said next Saturday will be 30 years since he and his wife went on their first date. He already knows who got the better end of the deal. His question, can she continue to get more and more incredible over the next 30 years? Will our 30-year winning streak continue?
Ugh.
Huh?
You're going to make me cry.
Congratulations to them.
Awesome.
Long time Knights fans as well.
Awesome.
You gotta like that, huh?
Yeah. Maybe he should be the guest picker.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like
Be
it.
cool.
All right, we're going to check in with Ben Stout, though I would say after Sunday's debacle with Florida Atlantic. The basketball season's over. Am I
No,
overreacting?
it's not. You're totally overreacting.
Am I
It's just
overreacting?
starting. Early loss is nothing. Don't worry about it.
I'm not happy about it, but our insider Ben Stout is going to check in with us. You're also going to find out what Candy Cauldron is when we talk with Nat and Emmy. Knightline, I'm loving it.
This segment is brought to you by Scouted, the app where athletes of all ages get exposed, discovered, and recruited. Download for free on the Apple Store or Google Play and get discovered today.
All right, men's basketball, UCF falls to 1-1, a buzzer beater by Florida Atlantic. Final FAU 80, UCF 79. A time of death shortly after 5 o'clock Eastern
please.
on Sunday.
It's not over.
It's not good. They were 19-point favorites.
That's okay, though. You can have a loss like this at the beginning of the season. Somebody was texting me about it. Oh, my God, they lost. No. It's not that big of a deal. This is a very long basketball season. There are lots and lots of games. What is the most important part is conference play. And the conference tournament, that's what gets you into the tournament, period.
Okay.
That's it. Y'all need
they're not hitting their threes.
Everybody that the sky is falling needs to chill the hell out.
I don't think it's good. They're not hitting threes. They still can't sink free throws.
It's very early.
I know. There's a lot of basketball.
It's very early.
All right.
Please.
It was a morose post-game media session. So let's hear from head coach Johnny Dawkins.
Well, you give them all the credit. I thought they came in. They played with, passion and desire, for 40 minutes. And I think their players made a lot of good plays, down the stretch. I thought it was a really good game down the stretch. Under 4, both teams were going back and forth. And it was going to be one of those games where whoever got the ball last would have a chance to win. And unfortunately, they got the ball last, and they made a big play on the offensive rebound. And so that's where the game was won. I think on the boards, they had 17 of them. And between the, old boards and loose balls, that created a number of possessions for them, and they made them count. And so, like I said, give them credit and their coach for a very good game.
All right. Well, I have to say this.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of the sound at the beginning.
I knew it was going to be an audio thing.
The sound at the beginning of that, I'm just interested in what you people think maybe that was, because it ended abruptly. And thank you, Dan, from UCF, for fixing that problem, because he knows, and I know what it is because I've been in there before.
I saw him get up and do it.
Yeah.
Or he was standing, but I saw him go over and do it.
It's very important, and I appreciate that. But maybe we'll have a question on Twitter. What do you think the sound was in Coach Dawkins' bite? And see who can figure it out. If you figure it out, I will send you a T-shirt.
Oh, wow.
How about that?
Well, how are they?
I've never given away a T-shirt. before. So you're going to make a question, and whoever answers the question right, what the sound was at the beginning of Johnny Dawkins' post-game interview there, if somebody can tell me what it is, they will win a T-shirt. Anyway.
All right, the funeral continues with B.J. Taylor.
Oh, boy.
We didn't get stops that we need to get on defense. Our whole team, our whole system is predicated on defense, and we didn't get the stops that we needed to get. The air ball, the last shot goes over the hoop, guy tips it in. But I think we didn't get the stops that we needed to get. So going into practice next week, we got to focus on getting back to defense.
I want to know, were there any tears?
No, but it was not
good.
a happy post-game.
I'm glad there wasn't tears.
Coach Johnny Dawkins making a bit of news, though, in the Post on Sunday that Dayon Griffin was suspended, was not there for the Sunday game, and will not be participating in the team's tournament next week in Myrtle Beach. So,
I wonder what Dayon did.
We do not know what Dayon did.
Dayon did something.
We had...
Dayon is in the doghouse.
That would seem to be the case. We introduced you to our new insider, former UCF men's basketball player Ben Stout, just a couple weeks back, and he contributed a report last week, and he's on the road this week, but found time in his travels at the airport, right, to send us
and once football is over, we'll have Ben on regularly.
What's he going to talk about?
Not
done.
Leaving voicemails
Basketball's
on the phone.
Done. Season's over.
Not done. My God.
Season is over.
No, it's not.
Hey, Andrew and Trace. This is Ben Stout. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm actually in an airport right now, about to head back to Orlando. I was able to pull up the game on my phone and watch it earlier today, so I wanted to leave some thoughts on the very disappointing loss today, 1-point loss to FAU. I mean, not much I could say about it. I think we got a little unlucky with some of the foul calls. That one stretch really killed us in the second half with, BJ getting the foul on the one guard there, and basically it was a 7-0 run that hardly took any time off the clock. So that they just seemed to kind of hang around with us today, unfortunately. And when it came down to it in the end, we just didn't have one more run left in us. I think overall what hurt us beyond a couple of inopportune foul calls that kind of broke some momentum during the game, I think overall what hurt us was was we missed a couple of free throws in very kind of tough times, and that wasn't too great for our momentum. We shot okay overall, shot about 70% from the free throw line, but it was just the timing of our missed free throws that kind of hurt us when we really needed them. But I think one of the biggest concerns that I have that Johnny Dawkins is definitely going to have to clean up moving forward is our transition defense. I mean, with Taco in the middle and our great guards, our guards playing great defense throughout the season, if you don't give a chance for that defense to set up, sometimes you can have success against us. So I think that was exploited today by FAU. They got some great transition offense where they were pushing the ball. Even after a made basket, they were pushing the ball down the court and creating a shot for themselves that were, unfortunately for us, dropping. I mean, there was a guy on their team, can't remember exactly his name, but he made about 6 3-pointers last year overall, and he went 4 for 6 for the game, and so got a little unlucky on that front with a couple of their key players catching fire. Saw some good things. Saw a nice little high-low game that I'm liking to see develop with Colin Smith and Taco Fall. Hopefully they can work that into the offense a little bit better, but I think overall this is going to be a real disappointing loss for us, but hopefully one that we can look back on and build upon, and maybe it's a loss that happened at a time we need it. So looking forward to what's coming up for this team. I think it's going to be a great season. It's going to be a great upcoming week that we can bounce back and put this one behind us. But of course, we didn't see this one coming as Knight Nation. We didn't see this one coming with a loss against FAU. So Johnny Dawkins will get him back in the gym, and we'll get him back on track. But I wanted to share a few thoughts before I headed on this flight. So hope you guys are doing well. Have a great show. Talk to you soon.
How about that for dedication?
It's awesome.
The dude's boarding a flight.
Absolutely
giving us a
awesome.
recap.
You've done that before as well. You've been on the phone with me when you were getting on a flight. That's awesome, though. Love it, Ben. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. It's great insight. I like what this guy does.
He's got a very deep voice, but his report sounds a little like a eulogy to me.
Oh, jeez.
Am I over here? I think
Just
I'm over.
move on.
All right, I'll move on. Back-to-back thrillers for UCF men's soccer. I mean, some really good soccer out at the UCF Soccer Complex. This is a really good team. 3-2 winners over UConn Thursday, double overtime. In that one, they were down 2-0 at halftime, and then scored 2 goals second half to force overtime. There were just maybe 12, 15 ticks left on the clock in that double overtime where they'd have to go to PKs, and UCF scores to win in thrilling fashion, knocks out UConn, advances to the title game Saturday night, and 1-1 with SMU. A year earlier, SMU beat the Knights 2-1, so SMU kind of got their number in men's soccer. But the Knights fall to the Mustangs 5-4 in PKs. Again, the 1-1 draw through 2 overtimes. And, I think head coach Scott Calabrese really sees potential for this team to go far in postseason and host postseason.
You feel you have the resume to host?
I think so, yeah. I would say at this point I'd be a little surprised. I haven't checked the RPI, but I would say we will at least host. And my hope is that because that game goes down as a tie for the committee. And so because the committee looks at that as a tie, that's not a loss as far as the NCAA committee is concerned. So, my expectation is that won't lower our RPI too much. So there's even the possibility of a bye. But we'll see. I don't know what goes on in that room when everybody sits down and decides, but we've definitely put ourselves in a position, a favorable position with that committee, I would say.
I know what goes on in those rooms. They're playing like Twiddly Dinks or something.
What is that exactly?
I don't know. It's a game.
See, you don't know.
Pick
you
up
always
sticks.
stump me with something that I don't know.
Twiddly Dinks was a game. It was like a... Look it up.
It's
Google
before
it.
my era.
Google Twiddly
You're older
Dinks,
than
man.
me. I don't
Come
know
on.
anything
No, I'm
about
not. Lord have mercy.
All right, so we'll keep this next soundbite short. Cal Jennings.
It's real short.
It is short, but I think it makes its point very short. Cal Jennings is unbelievable. He scored 20 goals this season.
Wow. Is he gone?
No, junior.
Oh, good.
A lot of these guys are underclassmen.
Good.
That are putting together this run.
And volleyball, too. A lot of underclassmen in all these things, so it's good. That's sustained winning.
How far do you think you can go in postseason?
As far as we want to go.
All right, you got to like Cal's confidence. The Knights learn their postseason plans during a selection show on Monday afternoon. Looking good for the Knights to host the NCAA tournament, perhaps even receive a bye. UCF is 7th in the United Soccer Coaches poll and the Soccer News 12th by top drawer and 13th in the most recent RPI.
I think it's going to be good for them.
Yeah,
so
should be.
We shall find out on Monday. Looking at the Knightline planner, women's basketball heads to DeLand to take on Stetson. That's November 14th. They're at Mercer November 18th. Men's basketball, as if that matters now, opens at the against Cal State Fullerton in the Myrtle Beach Invitational November 15th. And they'll keep playing games the next couple of days in that tournament. Volleyball on the road. November 16th in Dallas against SMU. You know who should go to that is a little shout out to Carson Engel. He and the Dallas alumni chapter should go support the American Conference champions. No pressure there, Carson. And they'll be November 18th at Houston. And rowing takes part in the Stetson Fall Rendezvous in DeLand on November 17th. I looked up Tiddlywinks, by the way. It's an indoor game played on a flat felt mat with sets of small discs called winks, a pot, which is the target, and a collection of squidgers, which are also discs. Players use a squidger. You want the whole set of rules, or do you know what it means
I've
now?
played it.
Players use a squidger, nowadays made of plastic, to shoot a wink into flight by flicking the squidger across the top of a wink and then over its edge, thereby propelling it into the air.
I was my college Twiddlywinks champion.
Well, why didn't you know what it was when you?
I'm joking. I wasn't, but I have played it. It's a great game. Great game. That's why I'm saying the NCAA committee, and I know that college football committee plays something. I don't know what they're playing, but it has to involve alcohol, obviously.
Never win a sack of balls for playing Tiddlywinks?
Nice. Oh, boy. Who got the sack of balls this week? that's
Some people
funny.
had a little fun with that,
I
by
missed
the way.
it, too. I missed it, and I was, totally prepared. I was ready to, get I was looking for it, and I totally missed it, though. Nobody commented.
No, Monday. Monday there were comments. You missed it.
I missed it. That's a bummer.
We're going to find out how the cookie crumbles with Nat and Emmy, and Pam asks if she should book tickets to Phoenix for a bowl trip. That's an Ask Knightline. When Knightline 170 returns, reason enough to jog on the treadmill just a little bit longer.
Ask a Knightline is brought to you by Chad Barr Law. Chad is a UCF alumnus and diehard Knights fan. Chad Barr Law handles auto accident, slip and fall, and personal injury cases. Call Chad today at 407-599-9036 for a free consultation. That's 407-599-9036. Armor up and call Chad Barr Law today.
Time again for Ask Knightline, answering questions you post to us on our Facebook page or via Twitter at #AskKnightline, a segment that may be sponsored by Chad Barr.
It is definitely sponsored by Chad Barr.
May have heard his name a time or nine. Got into it a little bit with @Danny PINNYC on Twitter during the game. Danny, highly critical of the play calling and the Knights defense. And it wasn't a specific Knightline question, but I said that I'd copy it and paste it and throw it in here.
Is this the same guy that you got into it with last week before the game? There was a guy that you got into it with, and he said he put us on mute because you were reposting a bunch of Alabama stuff or something.
I don't know. That's a different guy. And I don't know what he was all
came up and
fired
said
up
hi
about.
to me and said he took us off mute, by the way.
Oh, well,
so
good,
anyway,
good for him.
Yeah,
I don't even remember what that was about. It was during the game. I repost a bunch of stuff, but don't post any of that during a game. Okay. I mean, if I make a list of everything I can and cannot post during a game, I'm not going to be able. So anyway,
we're going to do what we're going to do.
All right. So Danny said he was critical of play calling, and here's where he goes with this. So let's deep dive into this a little bit. 2-minute drill to end the first half. Didn't like it. Taking a foot off the pedal. Management of player personnel. McCray being used more, but still not enough. And option hard to defend, but the linebacker crew was lost most of the game. What do you think? Has he got points here?
That was a game played to win the game and nothing more. All we were trying to do was win the game. It was not any flashiness. I mean, would he rather we lost the game and played flashy and threw interceptions and fumbled the ball more and stuff like that? I mean, I don't understand what people want. I would rather just win the game, and I don't care how it happens. As long as we have that W in the win column, that is all I want.
I mean, I think there's a section of our fan base, and certainly listeners of Knightline, they're just going to disagree with the position you've taken, the one I've taken, the one that Kyle took, and they want they're playing for style points, and they want to run up the score. I get it. I get why. But
that's not how you win football games, though.
Do you want to beat Navy 50-0 on Veterans Day at home in order to do what?
Yeah,
We're going to gain what?
Nothing.
Are we
You're
going to
not
move up
gain
at all?
anything. You're not.
Jim Hadaway, would you agree that Saturday's vanilla game plan reflected Heupel knowing the CFP will never show us love or respect, so he decided to just get the win without fancy stuff and without injuries? That is, no blowout would help us, so keep everyone healthy and ready for Cincy.
Absolutely, 100% thank you, Jim.
But I don't think Heupel game plan's thinking a word one about the CFP.
That's not what he's saying.
Well, he's saying, do you think his game plan reflected knowing the CFP will never show us love or respect? I don't think he factors that in at all.
And he doesn't care. That's the thing. Heupel doesn't care about any of that. He just wants to win the game, and that's all that matters. And thank God we have a coach that plays to win the game and doesn't make silly mistakes.
Speaking of coaches, former UCF head coach George O'Leary in attendance, and Jim snapped a photo of him.
Really? He was there, huh?
Yeah, taking in the action. Probably on our dime. Isn't he still a consultant?
Probably, whatever, something like that.
Unger to Unger. Heupel seemed to tone down the play calling again, saving some stuff for Cincy. Did you get that feeling?
Absolutely. That's silly.
C.J. Jones 917. Why did we give up so many points to Navy when Cincinnati gave up nothing? What was different about this week that caused us to play pretty good D throughout the first half and poor D in the second half? I certainly think they got tired.
They got tired, and I mean, I think that Navy had a better game than they've had in a while.
At Golden Knight _ the second, what are your thoughts on the game against Cincinnati? Do you think it'll be a shootout or low-scoring affair? We talked a little bit with Kyle about that. I don't see UCF in any sort of low-scoring affair anytime soon.
I don't know. I think we're going to pick them apart, personally. I mean, I hope it's not going to be a shootout. My heart can't take it, I don't think. So I just want some kind of – I don't care. I don't care if it's a decisive win or it's a win by 1 point. All I want is a W. That's all I care about.
Our buddy Cost Seg Advisor doesn't ask us many Ask Knightline questions, but we certainly talk with him all the time on Twitter. He wants to know, how do we appreciate the game day game, but not forget the vitriol that they have pushed at UCF with flamethrowers, his word. Truth is, UCF comes out the other side by going 1-0, but, should we never forget exactly what they've said? It's all just a big marketing thing for ESPN. They know what drives this.
Absolutely.
Let me tell you what. UCF and its fan base, young fan base, social media savvy, if this wasn't driving clicks and likes and engagement, they're not going to Buffalo tomorrow, a Saturday,
right. Wait till you see the ratings after this game. This ratings, I guarantee you, will be higher than a lot of their games this year.
PDN Ruffy, Pam asks, now can I book tickets to Phoenix?
I guess so. It seems like that's where everybody's picking. So, I think you should probably wait one more game because that'll get us into the American Championship. So,
if you do, and I'll tell you this, I've already worked out travel arrangements for this and used an airline where if you miss your flight, you just bank the credit because I travel enough for work
Southwest,
and personal.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. We can say Southwest Airlines on here. Hopefully they'll be a sponsor one of these days. You listen to Southwest Airlines?
I will say this, and I'm sure many of our fans have checked it out. Very expensive to fly Orlando to Phoenix. So I'm going to be out in Denver for Christmas visiting family, and I'm doing what I did the last time. I booked round trip Orlando to Denver and back in case there's somewhere else that UCF ends up and I can attend. And I also booked Denver to Phoenix, Phoenix to Orlando.
You didn't make anything to Atlanta?
I've got myself back in time to drive to Atlanta.
To drive
if that happens.
Okay, yeah.
So
all right, cool. Well,
it's expensive because where do snowbirds go in winter? They like going to Phoenix. They like going to Orlando. So these are expensive flights.
Orlando is expensive to fly out of anywhere. It's one of the most expensive airports to fly in and out of because of the airport tax or whatever.
So
landing fees, I think is what they call it.
And we mentioned him earlier in the tease. We are UCF family, celebrating 30 years. Happy anniversary again. He also asked that most bowl projections have UCF if winning out going to Peach or Fiesta. What do you guys think? Which bowl chooses, UCF? Do you think they put UCF up against the toughest opponent possible or weakest to limit exposure? Here's what the bowl cares about. Bowl cares about selling tickets. Bowl cares about selling hotel rooms, right?
Yeah.
They want people to come. I don't think Atlanta, the Peach Bowl in particular, wants the same experience. It's not a knock on UCF. I don't think they want any schools back-to-back years. I think they want to avoid that. And that's why it just, to me, seems, with UCF winning out, that they're going to be going Fiesta. Do you care if it's Ohio State, Texas, LSU,
I could care less.
Georgia?
I would love to see Florida, personally, just because I think that it would do us really good to beat Florida. But besides that, I could care less. LSU would be cool. The bigger the name, the better, as far as I'm concerned.
I was not particularly gigged about Kentucky.
No.
No. So,
Kentucky, no. We want the biggest name possible. We're the giant killer. That's what we want to do.
Gotcha. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. Keep sending those questions in. Hashtag
awesome.
AskKnightline.
Thank you. All right, something a little bit different here. Here's a recipe for success. A couple of energetic kids with a passion for baking and a love for the Knights. It adds up to the perfect treat, as Trace found out when he sat around a table munching on cookies with Nat and Emmy.
You guys have been doing this for a little while.
Yes.
Why do you like doing the baking so much?
Well, baking is a great time to just do it together in the kitchen as a family. We get to be creative. We get to bake from our experiences and personal points of view, and we like to teach people how to do it.
It's really fun, and you can express your creativeness by making what you feel like you want to make and decorating how you feel like you want it to be.
And one of the things you guys really like is UCF.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Just a
we
little.
love our Knights.
No.
A little. A lot.
See, the audio doesn't capture your faces right there, where it shows that your faces drop. No, a lot. And that first video you did really caught the attention of UCF.
Yes, it did. We made it just to support our Knights and cheer them on before the season. We were pumped up. We predicted that they would win their championship, and they did. And we were just so excited for what was coming, and so we did it, and we were watching, and we saw that all of it started to blow up on the media, and people started watching it and getting that we really like UCF.
And you like, in your videos, you wear UCF stuff,
Of course.
and you keep talking about the Knights. How much fun is it to see them do so well?
It's a lot of fun because, I don't know, it's just so much fun because we get to cheer on our Knights and make sure they're doing great because our cookies are the thing that we think makes health better, even though they're amazing.
So this may be the secret ingredient?
Yes, we think.
Yeah.
We haven't lost a game since we made the cookies, so...
So there's a little pressure on you that you have to keep
Yes.
making these cookies.
Yes. It's like if UCF are our ingredients and we make the cookies, so we make them do better even though they're amazing.
And you've gotten to meet players and
Oh, yes.
coaches. What's that like when you get to meet the players?
It's so exhilarating because you get to meet them from their personal point of view. We gave out cookies for the Peach Bowl right before they left. A lot of the players were so nice. They looked really excited. Mackenzie Milton, he even said some really nice stuff about our cookies when he was looking at them. So
You talked about being creative.
Mhm.
You
Yes.
guys think about this, what you're going to do, what kind
yes.
of cookie, how you're going to decorate it. What's that process like? How do you guys talk about it?
Well, we think about who we're playing, and we take that as an influence and put it into view. And we also take a lot of times the theme of the game. So, for instance, Homecoming is this one, and the Knights are doing some sort of retro theme for their helmet. So we're doing the state of Florida that's on their helmet for this one, and putting the white star where UCF is.
And there is... Homecoming is going to happen really, really, really soon, and we're going to make UCF-themed rubber duckies, like the rubber ducky things that go into
the pond for Homecoming.
Yeah, for Homecoming.
And because the media doesn't get to participate in running into the pond, we just thought, well, we might as well bring a little bit of Homecoming to them.
Now, my favorite cookie that you've made, because I sit up in the press box during the games, were the Mackenzie Milton Heisman ones.
yes.
Because I like coconut.
Mhm.
What went into making those cookies?
Well, because Mackenzie is from Hawaii, we decided to add coconut and macadamia nuts into them. So that's a Hawaiian theme, and we just really wanted to support Mackenzie for his running for Heisman. So, yes.
Now, you know these cookies are popular with more than just the players. So you bring them up to the media in the press box.
Yes.
Which, thank you very much. And you've been up in the press box before, right?
Yes, we have.
But did you know that soon as halftime comes, okay, and the clock strikes 0-0 and the players run off the field, all the media members jump out of their chairs. They don't bring the cookies out until halftime. And then they bring out your box. And they line up.
No way!
Yes.
Oh my god! That's awesome!
Yeah.
We had a feeling because that's when people started tweeting out responses about our cookies past halftime, and we were like, yes, this is awesome! But thank you for telling that.
I think it's because you make enough for everybody, but some people, not me, some people may take more than one. I'm just telling you.
Yes, that's amazing.
That some people may take more than one, so everybody gets up and gets in line because they don't want to end up not getting one. How about that?
That's awesome. Thank you.
Is that pretty good?
That's more than good. That's great.
And not only do you give creativity put creativity into the cookies, but also the packaging.
Oh, yeah, so we have our own labels. Dad helped us make those for our YouTube channel, and they started out as just a thing we were playing around with, and we decided we really liked them and thought, hey, we should put these on our cookies so people can get to know us a little bit more.
And I've watched your YouTube videos, and you've done more than just UCF stuff.
Yes.
Do you say all that stuff on your own, or do you write your own lines, or how does that work? Because you guys seem very natural in front of the camera.
Sometimes we write our own script. Dad helps us. And sometimes we don't go with one because when we're trying to film an episode, he says, write one and finish it by Wednesday or Friday. And I guess that never really happens, so he has to write one. Or we just do it.
We add a lot of our creative point of view into it, and we just make the script when we write it as much as the theme as possible. And when we do it, some of it's improv, and we just say it on camera. Normally we get a little bit of info before we say it, so we talk about it and we decide on what to say, and then we say something along those lines, and I guess it comes out great.
But there's one thing our episode can never, ever miss. My bacon.
I noticed this. Yes.
Not forget my bacon.
Yes, you like bacon.
She does.
Do you try and figure out ways to get bacon into cookies?
Yes, we do. In fact, we made maple bacon pecan chocolate chip cookies once, and our friend, he said those were the best cookies he had ever tasted in his entire life. And that was such a huge compliment. And we definitely did that thinking that Emmy would like them and our friend would like them. So
I've done a lot of interviews in my life, and especially with UCF players.
Yes.
And sometimes they get nervous when you're getting ready to interview them. The two of you don't seem like you get very nervous.
Thank you. Thank you.
Are you nervous at all? No. This doesn't bother you at all, does it?
No.
No. So you're cooking up a batch for the Navy game.
Yes, we are.
And you've made some cookies just because I stopped by.
Yes, we have.
If you would like one, we have some over there.
You know what that means? It'd be a good time to end the interview right
It
now.
would.
So we maybe can sample some cookies.
Yes.
But how about you guys give us a go Knights when we end?
Go Knights!
Very good. You guys are great.
Thank you.
All right. Now that was a little bit of fun, huh?
Yeah.
You're chewing. I brought you back cookies. They made a plate of cookies. They made cookies for the media as well. They did one that is the duck from Spirit Splash, and one, the old UCF logo, the state of Florida, that was on the helmet.
This has nuts in it, and I'm allergic to nuts.
No, you are not.
Call an ambulance. No, I'm joking.
God, I scare the poor kids. Nat is all of 11. Emmy has turned 9. You can find out more about them. Watch their great YouTube videos at bakeovertheworld.com. The ones you're consuming, by the way, they call Candy Cauldron. And what they do is they bake in their leftover Halloween candy. So every one of those cookies I brought back, you're munching away right here. What's that one got? Do you think M&M's maybe?
I don't know, but it's good.
It's good. I want to thank the folks for allowing me to come over to their home, sit around and talk. I appreciate the kids making some cookies. They deliver cookies to the various teams, and they've gotten to, as you heard, meet the players. My favorite, again, was the one that they made for the Heisman Trophy campaign for Mackenzie Milton, because I like coconut, so they mixed in the coconut.
These are absolutely incredible cookies, girl. This is awesome. Thank you. Now time for a look around the American featuring C. Austin Cox.
I'm C. Austin Cox from the AAC Daily on BCSNN, here to give you a quick look around the American Athletic Conference following Week 11 of the college football season. With college football heading into the final stretch of regular season games, the race to claim a division title in the American Athletic Conference is heating up. Things are still very close, with 7 teams that still have hopes for a shot at an appearance in the AAC championship game on December 1st. In the AAC East, UCF is still the frontrunner with sole possession of first place in the division, as the Knights hold a 1-game lead over both Temple and Cincinnati. UCF can claim the East title outright with a win over Cincinnati on Saturday, but a win for the Bearcats would make things almost wide open heading into the final week of action. Speaking of UCF and Cincinnati, it was announced on Sunday that the Knights will host College Game Day built by the Home Depot, marking the second appearance by UCF on College Game Day and the first time the program has been the host school, With Cincinnati and UCF this week and College Game Day going to the annual Army-Navy game, 1/4 of American Athletic Conference teams will appear on ESPN's premier college football program this season. The Game Day news followed a wild weekend of action in the AAC, especially in the conference's West Division, which now has a 3-way tie for first as SMU, Houston, and Tulane each hold 4-2 records in conference play. Memphis is a game behind at 3-3 and remains alive in the race as well. Houston and Tulane will meet on Thursday in a game that will keep the winner alive, but SMU is the team that controls its outcome with regard to the division title. The Mustangs would win the West if they win their last 2 games. Those are against Memphis and Tulsa. Back in the East, Cincinnati was a 35-23 winner over USF at a frigid Nippert Stadium. Running back Michael Warren II rushed for 151 yards and 3 touchdowns and also had a TD catch, while the UC defense held the Bulls to only 313 yards and 12 first downs. Of course, South Florida had to face Cincinnati without regular starting quarterback Blake Barnett, who missed the game due to injury. Also in the East, Temple remains alive in the hunt for a division title as well, after the Owls won a 59-49 shootout at Houston. Temple wrote a record-setting performance by running back Rykill Armstead, who ran for 210 yards and became the first American Athletic Conference player with 6 rushing touchdowns in a single game. Back over there in the Wild West, Tulane won its 3rd straight as the Green Wave scored a 24-18 victory against ECU inside Ullman Stadium. Quarterback Justin McMillan threw for a career-high 372 yards with 3 TDs, while wide receiver Darnell Mooney had a huge day with 6 catches for 217 yards and 2 TDs. The defense, meanwhile, set an NCAA record with 20 pass breakups against the Pirates, who attempted 67 passes. SMU, meanwhile, still in the hunt over there in the Wild West, was the winner of a 62-50 shootout with UConn in East Hartford, marking the highest scoring regular season game in American Athletic Conference history. SMU has won 3 of its last 4 games and 5 of its last 7 to leave the Mustangs a game shy of bowl eligibility with 2 games remaining. Memphis looks like it's back on track now that the Tigers have won back-to-back games, the latest a 47-21 victory against Tulsa inside Liberty Bowl Memorial Stadium. UM built a 27-0 halftime lead and then rode the play of running back Darrell Henderson to the win. Henderson rushed for 166 yards and racked up 2 touchdowns. Looking at the latest football rankings released on Sunday, both the AP and coaches polls seem to be sandbagging the UCF Knights, which still remain at the number 11 spot despite another win, extending the nation's longest winning streak to 22 in a row. Joining the Knights in the top 25 is UCF's College Game Day opponent, the Cincinnati Bearcats, which come in at number 19 and number 20 in the AP and coaches polls. A quick look at basketball sees that the Tulsa Golden Hurricane is off to a 2-0 start after topping South Carolina State on Saturday, while the Houston Cougars won their season opener Saturday afternoon, taking down Alabama A&M 101-54. That's just some of what's happening in the American Athletic Conference this week. To get more news and updates on the Power 6, you can catch me on the AAC Daily every Monday through Friday on the Best College Sports News Network, BCSNN, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Spotify. Now back to Andrew and Trace in Orlando with more UCF Knightline.
And now, news and notes from the world of UCF sports. All right, men's soccer, lots of awards this week, plus a lot of names here. Luis Perez earned the final Offensive Player of the Week honors in the American Season Awards. Perez also the league's Midfielder of the Year. Cal Jennings, Offensive Player of the Year. Goalkeeper Yannick Ote, Goalkeeper of the Year. Plus, if that wasn't enough, UCF men's soccer is the league's Coaching Staff of the Year.
That's pretty good right there. Can we get a sound effect, ding, when you say a name right? Ding.
You'd have to do it. And,
ding.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
By the way, it is fun. We've talked about this before. When you go to UCFKnights.com and you click on the rosters, especially for men's soccer, you can click on a little sound noise, and it's the player pronouncing their name.
Oh, maybe I need to do that because I mess up a lot of these names.
Here's going to be difficult for me. 2 sentences. Women's basketball beats Pittsburgh 61-58 for a season-opening road win. That's Coach Abe's, Andrew. First UCF win over an ACC school.
Nice.
I had a tough one there.
All right. Men's golf finishes 16th at the St. Mary's Invitational at Pebble Beach in California.
Cross country closes out the fall 25th at the NCAA South Region Championship.
And finally, congratulations to Alexis Williamson, a dancer in the Marching Knights, this year's homecoming queen.
Pretty successful homecoming. What'd you think of President Whitaker diving into the reflecting pond to
I thought
get
it was
a duck.
awesome. He did not wear a Speedo, so that's good.
This is-
I actually watched it live on whatever it was that they were streaming it on. I think I watched it on Twitter, actually. It was really cool. All right, this has been Knightline 170. I'm Andrew Phegley.
I'm Trey Trylko. Enjoy game day. Go Knights.
Charge on.
Charge onto the field. With our spirits, we'll never yield. Black and gold charge right through the line. Victory is our cry.